Hello, everyone. I want to welcome all of our listeners today to the continuation of a series of interviews that we are conducting with researchers all across the world related to the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and connected with the conference that the Coalition for Peace and Ethics, the research organ for the study of law and international affairs, Penn State Law and the School of International Affairs, sponsored in April of 2020. I am very pleased today. We're going to do something very special today. I'm very pleased today to bring back Yuri Gonzalez Hernandez, who is a lawyer in Cuba, who has been studying at Penn State University, who has just gotten, I believe, his LLM. So congratulations to Yuri, and will be going back to assume position in Cuba once, of course, the borders are open. And we will be speaking today about issues, and Yuri, of course, for those of you who saw the prior interviews, and they're all available, by the way, on the Coalition for Peace and Ethics YouTube channel, easy to find. For those of you who remember, Yuri has been doing a tremendous amount of work on COVID and Cuba. Cuba is a particularly interesting place to do research because to some extent, it suffers some of the challenges of a developing state, but in a lot of other respects, it has engaged with COVID and the challenges that COVID presents from the perspective of a fully developed state, which makes it, to some extent, fairly unique among nations. There may be a few other nations that are in this position, but Cuba, as it has been over the course of the last 70 years, tends to have its foot both in the challenges of a developing state, resources and the like, but also with the facilities to engage as a developed state. And in that context, what Yuri and I will be speaking about today, I think, are four major points that we will undertake in order. The first focuses on Cuban doctors and the Cuban medical profession, both in Cuba and outside of Cuba. It's an area that has been highly controversial, especially outside of Cuba over the past 40 or 50 years. We're going to be talking about it in the context of COVID. We will also be talking about, after that, we'll be talking about Cuba's work, which has been noted globally on developing medicines that can be used for the treatment of the COVID virus, its symptoms or its complications. And we'll be talking about a couple of those and their development and distribution globally. We will then talk about what doctors are doing, what Cuban doctors have been doing specifically in Cuba, and then broaden it ultimately to Cuban doctors within the much more difficult situation of the fight to reduce the severity of COVID-19 in Latin America. It's a big mouthful, and hopefully we will get through it in fairly short order, and I appreciate Yuri's patience in doing this. And we have a special treat. For those of you who are not English speakers, we will engage in this interview. We'll have this interview in English, but we will also, Yuri has kindly agreed to translate the question that I ask and his answers, at least in summary form, in Spanish as well. The effort is, of course, to reach our listeners who are more comfortable in Spanish. And since we are dealing with a region of the world that is essentially Spanish speaking, also where there's a lot of indigenous languages spoken, which are well beyond our capacities, and some understanding of English, at least among elites, we thought it might be useful as well to try to broaden the discussion here, or at least augment it, so that while our our talk will be based in English. There will be a Spanish summary as well. So thank you very much. With that, I think it's time to get into the meat of this thing. So Yuri, talk to us a little bit about the position, status, the role of lawyers. I'm thinking to myself, the role of doctors in Cuba, if you would.
Oh, well, actually in Cuba, the role of the doctor is really important all the time. But in this moment, with this situation, they are engaged in the really big effort because they have to reach every people in the communities to see if one of them have been infected or have taken this kind of risk. Now there is a policy that Cuba always take in this kind of, in this time there is a pandemic, but before when have been this kind of community disease, Cuba have a policy to send doctor that is like a door-to-door doctors. So they organize a group of doctor and medicine students, and they go through the neighborhoods and they go to each house every day asking about if there is somebody with fever or different symptoms that it could be related with the disease. In this time, with the pandemic, they are going to doing the same. They are going to the neighborhood. They are focused mainly in the elderly people. So they are going to, they have localized the address of the people more than 60 years old. So they visit these people every day to see if they have had any kind of symptom related with the COVID-19. And if they found something related like that, like fever or any kind of not good situation, they just inform these cases, and the healthcare system just send like an ambulance or a kind of transport or a specialist to check the person, and if in the case that is something that it will be related directly with the COVID-19, they just translate this person to the hospital or different institution that is dealing with this situation.
Is this done through the polyclinics?
Well, with the COVID-19, the polyclinic, they don't have the basic, because the polyclinic in Cuba are specialized in the first attention, like emergencies, something like it is really urgent. So in this case, that the person have a kind of symptom, they are going to the hospital that they just give for this virus specifically, because they don't want to mix in the polyclinic that maybe there is not the old doctor specialized in this kind of virus. So they just go with the people to the specialized hospital.
Okay, so this is a different set of doctors than the doctors who are assigned to the polyclinics.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, and the population understands this. Has the government been providing them information on where to go and who to see in this context?
Yeah, because and the polyclinic, they have maybe create, because I know that in the hospital, in every hospital have a specialized area. So if you go to the hospital with any kind of symptom, you are not going to the regular waiting room. You are going to this special area because you are saying that you have fever and this kind of symptoms. So you are not waiting with everybody else. You are waiting in another area, insulated, and then the specialist will come, will check the people, and then they decide if they are going to the hospital specialized in the COVID-19, or there is nothing related with the COVID-19, and the another specialist will attend the person.
Are people assigned to particular hospitals, or can you choose the hospital you want to go to?
No, actually they are split. The hospital depend of the population of the neighborhood or municipality that do you belong. If you belong to the east, you are going to the hospital in the east. If you belong to the maybe in the center of the city, there is another hospital that is like tropical medicine. The Pedro Curie Hospital is specialized in virus. This is the hospital that they treat the VIH, the SIDA. So they are specialized in this kind of virus. So these people will be treated in that kind of hospital.
Okay, so what if you are visiting Havana from Santiago de Cuba and all of a sudden you become symptomatic? Do you have a choice of hospitals, or I imagine you don't have to get on the train or the bus back to Santiago de Cuba?
Yeah, is in this situation, yeah, for sure. You will be treated in the hospital of the neighborhood that where you are staying.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to go with a family or friend of you that then you will say, yes, I'm from Santiago de Cuba, but I'm staying in this house. So they will have all created to know where you are going.
Okay.
Okay. So let me make now like a summarize in Spanish. Bueno, en este sentido hemos estado hablando del tratamiento que se le daría a las personas que viven en Cuba como tal y que tengan este tipo de síntomas. Y además la labor de los médicos respecto a la población. Existe un grupo de médicos, de doctores y estudiantes de medicina, los cuales han sido divididos en grupos para hacer lo que le llaman el pesquisaje. O sea, son especialistas, trabajadores del sector de la salud que van a los vecindarios, a los barrios en Cuba, y van casa por casa preguntando si alguien tiene algún tipo de síntoma relacionado con el virus. En caso de que la persona tenga este síntoma, bueno, es trasladada al centro de salud especializado y creado para atender este tipo de virus. Están en estos días enfocados mayormente a atender a las personas de los adultos mayores. En este caso, personas mayores de 60 años y que son susceptibles a este tipo de virus, porque
y las consecuencias de este tipo de virus para los ancianos.
Para los ancianos, y entonces, bueno, esta es la población más susceptible, por eso es que se le está dando una especial atención. Sí.
Bueno, gracias. Y hablamos también del sistema de hospitales que tiene Cuba.
Sí, los hospitales han sido, se han separado, o sea, han creado hospitales, de los hospitales que ya existían, los han dejado algunos para tratar solamente pacientes con el COVID-19. Entonces, ellos son, cuando se localiza el paciente, la persona con la sintomatología, se le hace la prueba y da positivo al coronavirus, es atendido en este hospital. No es atendido como normalmente uno atiende cualquier tipo de enfermedad en el área especializada del hospital. No, se han creado hospitales para atender solamente el coronavirus, a pacientes con coronavirus debido al alto nivel infeccioso que tiene. Entonces, si una persona siente algún síntoma, va a un hospital donde va a ser atendido primeramente en un área donde va a estar aislado. Ahí van a ver la sintomatología, lo va a atender un especialista y en dependencia de lo que se defina, se le hace la prueba o si se define que esos síntomas no están relacionados con el coronavirus, entonces puede pasar al especialista que lo vaya a atender. En caso de que sí, será trasladado a estos centros de atención especializados para tratar el coronavirus. La otra pregunta que me hacía, si una persona no es de La Habana, porque estos hospitales se han dividido en dependencia del sector poblacional, si una persona no es de La Habana y está en este tiempo en La Habana, en casa de un familiar o de un amigo, bueno, será atendido y da positivo para el coronavirus, será atendido en una de estos, en el hospital que corresponda a la dirección donde esté el amigo o el familiar.
Okay. Pero si hay una pregunta más, lo hago primero en español y después lo trasladamos en inglés. Hay un proceso de selección de médicos para atender a los sintomáticos. Es decir, han dividido el país médicos que tienen solamente la tarea de tratar el COVID, que son distintos de los médicos que no lo tratan.
Sí, en este caso, yo no sé mucho de medicina, pero bueno, en estos casos lo que se hace es el especialista en infectología, los especialistas en enfermedades pulmonares, neumólogos, me imagino que crean un team donde incluya un especialista en infectología, un especialista en neumología, un especialista en medicina general, un especialista en medicina interna. Entonces, ese team va a estar tratando precisamente estas enfermedades, porque como afecta el sistema inmunológico, no está relacionado con una sola especialidad en la medicina. Entonces,
no, es decir, la pregunta es si el gobierno va a decir, ha dividido los médicos, si hay, en efecto, si son los médicos ellos mismos que están decidiendo en qué manera y cuáles son los que hacen el tratamiento, o si esto lo han hecho los oficiales.
No, en este caso es el personal de la salud, porque es el personal especializado en saber cuál es el indicado en atender me imagino que ellos han delimitado las responsabilidades. La responsabilidad del gobierno como tal vendría siendo la responsabilidad social, que las personas deban permanecer en casa, todo el tipo de regulaciones para que no haya aglomeración, que es difícil ya evitarlo en Cuba. Y este tema de cómo tú vas a distribuir los pocos recursos que hay, porque si una persona está con los padecimientos y está en su casa, no puede salir a buscar un autobús y ahí ir al hospital. O sea, tiene que buscarle el transporte para que esta persona vaya. Otra cosa que tiene que atender el gobierno es cómo transporta a estos especialistas cuando van al hospital. Entonces, todo eso ya es parte de la política global, macro, y entonces ya todo lo que tenga que ver específicamente con el hospital, en las casas, ya eso sí está relacionado con el sistema de salud.
So what we were talking about, for those of you who are not Spanish speakers, I threw in an extra question, and the question was, to what extent, if Yuri could explain to us, to what extent the government was involved in selecting or dividing the medical personnel between those who would take care of symptomatic COVID patients and those who would be treating others. And that then led into a slightly larger conversation. The answer that Yuri gave, although I can let Yuri speak for himself, I'll give you the short version and then Yuri can expand on it, was actually quite interesting in that with respect to the formation of the teams of doctors who are responsible for dealing with the sick, it's the doctors organized in these hospitals who themselves decide how they form their teams and how they actually approach the treatment of particular patients. But with respect to the macro situation, which is in a sense far more complicated, that tends to be in the domain of the state. Everything from sheltering in place orders to developing procedures and protocols for transporting symptomatic people to the policies and the decisions about how you transport the doctors who are involved in and who are likely to be constantly exposed to symptomatic and asymptomatic COVID patients themselves. And so there's a division there, which in which internally, once the patient is in the hospital, it's really up to the hospital organizations to decide who and how they'll be treated. But getting to the hospital, the rules, the social rules with respect to the pandemic are really within the discretionary realm of the state and state officials. Yuri?
Yeah, you have been talking about everything. So the main point is like that there is like the responsibility is well established. So the healthcare center, the healthcare system is aware about the treatment, about the doctor, how they will offer the treatment to the patient, and the government will be aware about the transportation and everything, but like out of the hospital.
Right, right. All right. Well, let's change subject a little bit and talk about medicines and talk about the Cuba's role in developing and then distributing treatments. We're talking medicine. I'm transliterating the Spanish to English, so sometimes my vocabulary may be a little odd to native English speakers. The medicamentos, or that is the treatment, the medical treatments that have been developed in Cuba, both in Cuba and to some extent, and you can talk to us about this as well, and then distributed globally.
Yeah. Well, Cuba actually well have this kind of story developing medicine, because the specialists, the Cuban specialists, have been focused on develop their own treatment, the treatment of the own disease that they found in Cuba, because the drugs abroad is kind of expensive, and Cuba as a poor country, there is not they cannot afford this medical treatment, and also because the healthcare system is a free healthcare system, so there is not money enough to buy the drug distributing internationally and also offer to the people in Cuba for free. So they have been focused on developing their own medical treatment and drugs for dealing with this kind of disease. It's kind of in Cuba there is not new, because before the 1959 it was a lot of scientists, Cuban scientists, that they have been in shares to discover medical treatment, like Carlos J. Finlay. He discovered the insect who transmit the yellow fever.
Sure.
So he discovered this insect and also developed a treatment against this. So it's a kind of history about this Cuban scientists. But in this topic, Cuba in the 80s decade, they developed the drug that they call interferon. Interferon is a substance that all we have already in our body, in our system. Is like a substance that fight against every kind of virus that is attacking our system. So the thing is that the when the our human organism is being attacked with any kind of disease, they develop defenses. So one of the substances that help with the defense is the interferon. So it's a natural substance. So this interferon that Cuba have been developing is something that will put into the body, and this interferon will be alert the body that they have to defend against any kind of virus. So the interferon itself, there is not a cure. Is a drug that will help the human body to be prepared for defense. In this case, to defense to the COVID-19, because the develop of the COVID-19 in the body, in the human body, is fast, but also is like a silent. The person cannot feel that is going ill, is ill. So yeah, the interferon was developed in the 80s, but since 2007, Cuba and China, they make a joint venture. The two governments make a joint venture that they call the joint venture Chang Chung Herbert is the name of the joint venture between Cuba and China. And since 2007, they are developing the interferon alpha 2B. Is the commercial name of the drug that they use for patients who are particularly they have because it wasn't created for the COVID-19, because at that time for sure it was this kind of virus, but it was for to treat patients with like a difficult with the immune system.
Okay. Right.
So yes, like the old people, arthritis to the old people and everything, cell leukemia, malignant melanoma. So a lot of kind of disease but cells immune destructive. So
Right. Autoimmune, right, to treat autoimmune.
Yeah.
And but they managed to find that it also has some now significant applications to ameliorating the symptoms of COVID-19 and therefore to reduce the mortality rates from infection.
Yeah, actually the commercial name for that the interferon alpha 2B is Shanghebert, is the drug that they are distributing in China. When all of this start, the China took the interferon, the Shanghebert, as a treatment plan by the National Commission of the Health of China to treat this pandemic. So they start using the interferon in some patients, and it shows good result. So they start to developing and produce more and more with the spread of the virus around the world. Different countries such as Italy, Spain, El Salvador have been interested in to buy this drug, and they are using the treatment in the patient, and is helpful. There is not the solution, but help to a lot of patients to recover faster.
Okay, so Cuba is, or the joint venture, the Cuban-Chinese joint venture, is now making this this treatment available globally for sale to developed countries. Are they also selling it to developing states, or are they giving it away?
Well, I don't have that answer. I think that they are making directly a treaty with the WHO, the World Health Organization, for to know how the ways that they have to deliver to send the drugs to different countries. But Cuba itself is applying this drug already, in China too, but I'm not sure in these kind of countries how they are taken, how is available this drug.
Is the interferon manufactured in China or is it manufactured in Cuba?
In both countries, and also and also there is another countries that they are developing the drugs, because it's like a public domain. There is not something secret. It's just go through the scientists. It has just go through the way to create the interferon through the natural substances. Like for example, Mexico is going through this. It's almost taking the drug. So yeah, there is not something special. It's something that a lot of countries have to develop, but they need the technology. And Cuba, there is a underdeveloped country, but have been a lot of time dealing with this substance. So now have this kind of experience.
Right. En español.
And also, there is another drug. There is another drug that it has been using in Cuba, but this one it has been used just in Cuba. The name is itolizumab. It's a drug that they start using in the central part of Cuba for treatment of leukemia and lymphomas.
This is before COVID.
Before COVID.
Okay.
And they discover that have the same result. So made the human system be stronger against the virus. So this drug, it has been effective because it doesn't have like a bad adverse for the body.
Right. There's very little bad adverse effects.
Yeah, it's like less bad. It's when you apply the drug to the patient, they don't have severe adverse effect. It's helpful because as you are applying to the people for people more than 60 years old, you have to be careful what kind of treatment you are applying if those patients.
So those and those drugs are only available within Cuba.
Okay. The second one is in Cuba, and the second one is just in Cuba, and the first one is in Cuba and also in China.
Okay. Do you know of any other developments in medical treatments that are being undertaken in Cuba now?
Well, in Cuba, actually, to treat like lung cancer and another kind of disease in the lungs, there is different treatment that I'm sure that they are applying. It depends, because the thing with this is that affect the lungs, but when you have your body have a fail in the I'm not sure how to say this in English.
The respiratory system.
The respiratory system, your heart have failed too.
Okay. So
are related.
So you're dealing with pulmonary
cardiovascular system.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor.
So if we are going through that, I think that I have to go to the medicine school because
but that's right. There is that intimate connection between the lungs and the heart, and so the medicine becomes, or the treatments become slightly more complicated.
Yes, because once one is affected, the other one is also a threat. So there is a lot of drugs, medicine that they are using that is specific in this kind of situation.
Okay.
Well,
Y ahora en español.
bueno, en español. Estuvimos hablando de los medicamentos que han sido utilizados para tratar el COVID-19 en Cuba, o sea, los medicamentos desarrollados por Cuba. Habíamos dicho que en la década de los 80, Cuba desarrolló un medicamento natural al que llamaron interferón. El interferón no es más que una sustancia natural que tienen las células del cuerpo, las cuales cuando la célula es atacada por algún virus, desarrolla esta sustancia para ayudar al sistema inmunológico a combatirla. ¿Qué es lo que hace cuando se le introduce interferón a un paciente? Solamente alerta a las otras células del cuerpo para que segreguen más interferón y puedan combatir el virus y sea más eficaz. O sea, es impedir que el virus avance lo menos posible en el cuerpo. Por supuesto, el interferón no es la cura para el coronavirus. El interferón no es más que una sustancia que va a ayudar a que el cuerpo se autoprepare, sea autoinmune contra este virus que es tan letal y que la persona no siente el desarrollo del virus en el cuerpo. Ya cuando te das cuenta, estás demasiado afectado como para que el sistema inmunológico sea capaz de combatirlo eficazmente sin que te deje efectos secundarios. Entonces, Cuba desarrolló el interferón alfa 2B, que ha sido producido desde el año 2007 entre la empresa mixta chino-cubana, o sea, los dos gobiernos crearon una empresa mixta que en la provincia de Jilin, ese nombre sí no se me olvida, Jilin en China.
Jilin,
entonces,
sí.
la empresa mixta se llama Changchun Heber. Entonces crearon bajo el nombre comercial Changheber el interferón, que fue uno de los primeros medicamentos que tuvo en cuenta el Departamento de Salud de China cuando empezó lo de la pandemia en China como uno de los tratamientos a aplicar en pacientes con coronavirus en China. Lo que sucedió fue que fue efectivo y este medicamento ha sido requerido por otros países como España, Italia, El Salvador, que han sido muy golpeados por esta pandemia y han estado ávidos de requerir tratamiento médico eficaz. Además porque la expansión del nivel de infección en esos países ha sido alto, por eso ellos han estado buscando la manera de tener un tratamiento efectivo para combatir este virus en estas áreas del planeta. Otro medicamento aplicado en Cuba, pero este sí se ha aplicado específicamente en Cuba, es un medicamento que se llama itolizumab. Es un medicamento que fue creado, por supuesto, mucho antes de todo esto del coronavirus, porque fue creado en los laboratorios de Cuba, el BioCuba Pharma en Cuba, para tratar pacientes con leucemia, linfomas, incluso artritis. Es un medicamento que ahora ha sido aplicado sobre todo en la zona central de Cuba, en pacientes con coronavirus, dando muy buenos resultados. Lo que sucede es que lo bueno que tiene este medicamento es que no tiene efectos secundarios severos, o sea que puede ser aplicado en personas, en adultos mayores.
Bueno, gracias, Yuri. Bueno, we are moving closer to the end of our interview, but there are a couple of other points that I'm hoping that Yuri will be able to cover with us in English and then in Spanish, and those have to do with what exactly it is that the doctors are doing both within Cuba, that was number 3, but much more generally within Latin America. One of the most interesting and highly controversial, at least outside of Cuba, highly controversial activities has been the now generation old project of Cuba to export doctors and medical equipment to other countries. It has met objections from developing states for a variety of reasons, which we will discuss in another interview that will take us another hour. But on the other hand, Cuban doctors have proven to be effective both in terms of their ability to help populations abroad, but also in the way in which it's helped organize Cuban medical treatment, that is, the protocols that Cuban doctors will use within the island. And I was hoping that, and so what I wanted to focus Yuri on, and what I'm hoping you'll be able to talk to us is about those things both within Cuba and then Cuban doctors, especially in Latin America, now that finally the world's attention has moved back down to Latin America as an increasingly important area of emergence of COVID-19 in populations. Yuri?
Yeah, well, Cuba have sent doctor during the history to a lot of countries. And also there is like a group, the name is Henry Reef, is the group that is prepared for to be sent to any disaster area, when it has been air quarter, when have been natural disaster, this group is ready for going there and to help people. So I remember that in the 70s and 80s, the doctor have this kind of narrative that they go without any other interest, just than help people, save life. After the 90s, these narratives have been changed because another countries start to say, okay, I need doctor to help my population because I don't have like a wide public healthcare system. So they request doctor, Cuban doctor. Cuban doctor have a good reputation around the world. But I think that this reputation has won because they are concerned about the health care situation of the patient, and also they are well prepared too. But after 90s, they have sent doctor to many countries. The Cuban doctor, there is not, as the people can think about the doctor. This doctor have a good earn good money each month, or have a good life. The lifestyle is well. In Cuba, the doctor have like a modest people that they just work because they have the passion for the medicine. They have the passion for to help people to recover the good health. So now with the COVID-19, they start sending doctor to, well, more than 15 countries, because they are requesting to the World Health Organization about that there is not people who work in the hospital. There is not people enough to deal with the spread of the pandemic and with the increase of the person infected. So they request to the World Health Organization that they need more doctors and nurses. So Cuba was one of the countries. I'm sure that there is not the only country that have sent doctor abroad, but it was one of the countries who sent doctor. I think at the day of April, Cuba have sent more than 2,000 doctors and nurses to different countries in Latin America, Africa, and Europe. And yes, this is because the doctor, the Cuban doctor, when they have been sent to this country, the polemic or the controversial issue abroad, it could be because why the Cuban doctor they are agreed to go to those places. Why the government use this person to go there, and they know that they can be infected, or they can they know that they will work without rest, because if they have patient to attend, they are not going to rest. They have to stay working. But the thing is that there is no different in Cuba. In Cuba, when they are working and they have patient, they have to keep working because it's the nature of the Cuban doctor. They feel this kind of concern about the patients. And they have been really good result in countries like Italy, Spain, and in African countries too. Because mainly in Africa or countries like Honduras, there are a lot of people that they don't have resource, and maybe they have never seen a doctor before in their life. And when they see a Cuban doctor, and if offer them really good attention, medical attention, like they are listen, what is your problem? What do you feel? And after that, they come back and talk with the person. Now, how do you feel? So they feel that they are take care. So it's good that this happened, and it's good that there is people in Cuba that they have the will to go abroad to help people more in these times of the COVID-19.
All right, well, two questions actually that come from this. The first is, to what extent is there a fear that the exportation of doctors leaves Cuba itself exposed? Because the more doctors that Cuba exports out to Angola or to the Caribbean or to Ecuador or even Italy, which is a country that is itself rich in doctors, the less doctors there are in Cuba. That's the first question. And then the second question related to that is, to what extent have the Cuban doctors been going to those places in Latin America that have become, to use the new colloquial, COVID hotspots? And I'm thinking in particular, Ecuador and Peru. I know that it's difficult for Cuban doctors to go to Brazil, but at least in those. So those are the two questions I have for you.
Okay, well, the first question, yes, is really difficult. I mean, for me, in my opinion, yes. When more doctors you send abroad, less doctors you have for dealing with that situation in Cuba. I think that there is no new. Cuba have been doing this regularly in the past of the year. They have sent doctor because, for example, in 2017, just in Brazil, Cuba sent more than 20,000 doctors or nurses, I can say. So the Cuban government and the education system have been encouraged people always to take the medicine career. But the thing is that even though they are encouraged people, they have created this structure to export doctors and also have doctors in the country. Yes, we have feel this necessity of doctor in some case, because we have like a family doctor. We call family doctor. It's a doctor who is in the neighborhood, and with this doctor, you don't have to go to the hospital if you have any kind of disease. So you just go to see this family doctor that is in the neighborhood that have a really a small room, and you go there and they offer you the first medical attention.
Now,
And then,
this isn't the polyclinic doctors.
no, there is the polyclinic doctors, but also there is the family doctors. Yes, this is another place. For example, if you have a child and you already went to the polyclinic and they give you a treatment that took 15 days, you don't have to go again to the polyclinic. You just go to the family doctor with the nurse, because there is also a nurse. You will go with your medicine, and they will give you maybe a shot if you need the shot, but you don't have to go to the polyclinic every day, because in your neighborhood it will be a family doctor. Now that is difficult because there is not doctors enough. So now, yes, you have to go to the polyclinic to take the medical treatment.
Okay.
And yeah, this is the extent of the export doctor abroad.
Okay. All right. So that it sounds like that the doctors that are being asked to go abroad are not the doctors who are stationed in the hospitals themselves, but the doctors who are stationed in either the polyclinics or the family doctors.
Yeah. And also now there is not too much family doctor because of that. Thinking about that, yes, this is the extent of the situation. They are sporting medical doctors, so they have they don't have enough people to be in every place that they are created for that. So now the people have to go to the polyclinic.
Okay. And the effect of the doctors, Cuban doctors in Latin America, have you had any reports on how they've been doing especially in the COVID hotspots in Latin America?
Yeah, they have been a good result in Mexico. They send doctors to Mexico. I think that in the history of Cuban sending doctor abroad, this is one of the first time that they have sent doctor to Mexico, because Mexico is like a really special place. They have developed areas and also really poor areas. So in this, and also a big population. In this situation, they have been useful in Mexico, because the Mexican government have the main healthcare system is private, so they don't have the doctor to fight to fight this situation. So Cuban doctors have been in really good support to the Mexican people. In this case, they also have a doctor before in Venezuela. So there is no new. These doctors still are there, but now they are doing really good job with the people infected. And also in Honduras and Nicaragua, they have a doctor, and for sure they are doing a really good job.
Okay. All right, thank you. Y en español? That's a long one, but let's see if we can do a summary en español.
Sí, bueno, estábamos hablando del tema de los médicos que han ido a diferentes países a prestar sus servicios. De Cuba, desde mucho antes del 90, enviaba a los médicos a muchos países como el Congo, sobre todo países africanos que siempre han tenido la necesidad, ¿sí?, del tratamiento médico. En aquel tiempo, según experiencias de médicos que en aquel tiempo estaban activos, ellos iban porque existía la filosofía de apoyar al desfavorecido. Y entonces no había ningún incentivo. No sé, muchos lo pueden tomar como algo raro, pero no es raro, porque cuando tú llegabas a Cuba luego de esa jornada, lejos de tu familia, en diferentes condiciones, porque en esos lugares que la pobreza es extrema, no hay condiciones como para que el médico atienda al paciente o para que el médico se sienta confortable. Entonces, cuando tú llegabas, tú lo que recibías era un reconocimiento moral, un aplauso, un discurso, un diploma, una medalla. Y esa era la satisfacción del médico. Wow,
Bueno,
soy útil.
como lo estamos haciendo ahora en muchos países,
Exacto.
en Italia, en España, que la
En
gente
Italia, en
sale
España.
por las ventanas de noche a darle un
A
aplauso a
darle un
los...
aplauso en España, en Cuba también se les da aplauso todos los días, pero ese es el reconocimiento. Y eso no es malo, eso es bueno. Sentirte útil a la sociedad a veces es mejor que algo material. No digo que no sea necesario, pero por lo menos te ayuda en tu autoconsciente, en tu subconsciente. Dices, wow, soy una persona que he contribuido a la sociedad. Y yo estaba pensando que ya esto se ha escrito en las páginas de la historia. Los médicos que hoy en día están luchando contra el coronavirus, ellos ya deberían, como en Cuba le ponen los nombres de los héroes a las escuelas, a los centros, ya tienen que empezar a ver para ponerle nombres de todos los médicos a todos estos centros hospitalarios, porque ellos están siendo los héroes en estos tiempos. Esto no es una guerra de la Segunda Guerra Mundial, esto es una guerra contra un virus y los médicos son los protagonistas. Entonces, luego del 90, Cuba empezó a exportar médicos, como se dice, obteniendo un beneficio económico, por supuesto. Pero el médico cubano siempre ha sido esta persona que tiene humanidad, que a pesar de que esté recibiendo algún incentivo económico, le brinda una especial atención médica al paciente y se preocupa por la atención post cuando el paciente ya se ha recuperado, se preocupa cómo siguió, cómo seguir la recuperación del paciente es tan importante como atenderlo. Entonces, luego o sea, Cuba ha enviado médicos. Una de las preguntas que me hacías era si había algún efecto cuando Cuba enviaba médicos al exterior, entonces ya habría menos médicos en Cuba. Esto sí se ha visto porque en Cuba existen muchas etapas de atención médica. Está el médico de familia, el policlínico y los médicos de los hospitales. El médico de familia es muy importante porque atiende a las personas en una comunidad. Entonces esta persona no tiene que trasladarse hasta el policlínico en caso de que le quede muy lejos. Ahí en esa comunidad existe el médico de la familia con una enfermera, que ahí tú puedes llevar a tu hijo que esté recibiendo algún tratamiento médico que tenga que recibir inyecciones, no tienes que ir hasta el policlínico, lo puedes hacer ahí mismo en el médico de la familia. En estos momentos hay déficit de médicos, por lo tanto, no hay muchos médicos de la familia en las comunidades. Ya las personas tienen que trasladarse hasta el policlínico y precisamente una de las razones es esa, que ha habido mucha demanda de médicos. Cuba los ha enviado, los ha exportado y, y entonces sí, estos médicos ahora están en el exterior apoyando a otras personas que lo necesitan. Lo que sucede es que el sistema cubano, tanto el gobierno como el sistema educacional de Cuba, ha sentado las bases para incrementar. Ellos exhortan a las personas a estudiar la carrera de medicina para tener precisamente más personal médico afuera y atendiendo a las personas adentro. Entonces, eso es lo que le ha permitido al gobierno cubano poder mandar tanta cantidad de médicos afuera y tener la capacidad de atender personal, de atender pacientes en Cuba. A lo mejor no como en una época, como yo recuerdo, que ahí siempre estaba el médico de la familia en el barrio cuando yo era niño, pero ahora la diferencia es que tienes que ir hasta el policlínico. Y entonces, a lo mejor hay mayor cantidad de personas que atender porque hay menos especialistas, pero ha tratado la manera siempre de el sistema educativo cubano de guiar a las personas a tomar ese tipo de estudios para poder seguir entonces con esta producción de médicos. Yo sé que suena como si fuera una fábrica, una industria que están produciendo médicos para enviarlos al exterior, pero yo lo veo como de ayuda. En este tiempo eh, sí se ve el resultado positivo. Si en algo le ha servido a estos países que se les envíen médicos, pues felicidades. Y realmente los médicos cubanos, los médicos en general, pero bueno, los cubanos en este caso, han hecho una labor especial en el tratamiento
Y
del COVID.
has hablado de los médicos, especialmente en México, en Honduras, en Nicaragua.
Ajá. Ahora, en los países latinoamericanos que están en México, en Honduras, en Nicaragua y en Venezuela, como ya estaban anteriormente, están haciendo una labor especial, sobre todo en México. En México, Cuba no había enviado muchos médicos anteriormente porque incluso cuando han habido tratados bilaterales, los BIT, que incluía la atención médica, nunca se logró concretar algún acuerdo para enviarlos. Hasta ahora, porque México tiene una población muy particular. México tiene una población con un nivel económico muy desarrollado y tiene una población muy pobre, además de que tiene una vasta población, son una población muy grande. Y este virus los ha afectado grandemente y el sistema de atención de salud de México mayormente es privado. Y entonces eso para el gobierno mexicano contrasta y le trae dificultad. Ellos han encontrado en los médicos cubanos un gran soporte porque ha podido atender a esta gran población que tiene escasos recursos. Y así sucede también en los países como Honduras, que hay personas que con muy escasos recursos en los cuales el médico cubano ha sido de vital ayuda, vital apoyo ahí. También estábamos hablando de los países de África, que son países muy pobres donde hay personas que en su vida han sido tratados por un médico y entonces han encontrado en el médico cubano el regocijo, ese consuelo de que venga una persona, un médico, te atienda, pero que te dé una especial atención y que te siga luego de haber terminado el tratamiento y que te hayas recuperado, que se preocupe de cómo seguiste, cómo sigue tu estado de salud. Eh, Eso yo pienso que es vital y que los médicos cubanos tienen esa humanidad ya incorporada.
Bueno, muchas gracias. I believe that I believe that our time is running out. We've had an extra long interview, and I want to thank Yuri for his patience and his willingness to do a double interview, both in English and in Spanish. I want to give you an opportunity if you have any last or parting thoughts before we end.
Oh, well, I think that this is the really a special situation. And I want to thank you for allowing me to talk about it. And I think that the war, as we know, until now, will be different in the future. And I think that the new generation, they have been to think about what we can do in the future to help people. Maybe this will address somebody to take like medicine studies and also to be more concerned about how they will uh, help in the future to others, not just think about the economical incentive or benefits, just about to help people. It doesn't matter what, but yes, I wanna give you thank you. This year for me, it was particular because it is my first experience here in the United States taking studies in the law school here, but also this semester end like a disaster because we never see you, we never meet us again. And it's like, wow, it's all, everything is through the computer, everything is online. So yes, I feel that this year for me was really special. I have had every kind of experience that I have never had before.
That's right. You and us. You and us as well. All right. Well, thank you very, very much. Yo no sé si quiere dar un sumario de esas
En
últimas.
español.
Sí,
Bueno,
cortico.
cortico. Bueno, me siento muy agradecido por darme la oportunidad de hablar, de responder tus preguntas. Sabes que eres una persona muy especial y, y entonces es una pena que no nos hayamos podido reunir con toda esta situación, pero bueno, en el futuro sí espero que nos podamos reunir y poder conversar y compartir. Y entonces el mensaje que llegue a las nuevas generaciones, que a partir de ahora sean más conscientes, que piensen no primero en el beneficio personal y económico, sino que piensen también en el beneficio social, y que espero que eso sea como incentivo de que nuevas generaciones tomen estudios de medicina tal vez y que estén preocupados por la salud de otros también.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias. To our listeners, thank you very much. We are happy to take questions. I will be posting this on the Coalition for Peace and Ethics YouTube channel. You will find links to it on the website of the Coalition for Peace and Ethics, as well as on the blog Law at the End of the Day. Just type in the words Yuri, Y-U-R-I, Gonzalez, Hernandez, and you should be able to get it. We are happy to take your questions. Please send them to us and we will respond online. And if there's a sufficient number of them, perhaps I can get Yuri to come back and speak to us some more. And with that, again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
This is just marvelous. And until next time.
Okay.
All right.